Hi friends, welcome to my documentary. Now I am telling about respiratory system. We know friends, breathing is inhaling and exhaling. Inhalation is the intake of atmosphere oxygen into the lungs. This oxygen transfers to blood through small blood tubes. This oxygen reacts with glucose, then energy will be released. We used this energy for our metabolism activities. In this reaction, carbon dioxide released. Then CO2 comes out through lungs to respiratory tube and nose. This is called exhalation. Our respiratory system starts from the nose. The inner skin of nose is moist with mucus and has small hair. The dust in the air we breathe sticks inside this place and stops. Also, the air inside of lungs should be moist and slightly warm. Otherwise, the lining of lungs will be damaged. Hence, the blood vessels in the nasal cavity inside of the nose make the air we breathe like hot, while the mucus on the walls of the nose makes the air moist. Now let's look at the interior structure. First the nose, then the nasal cavity, then the throat, then the spring pipe to the inside of the lungs. This spring pipe is called trachea. From there, the trachea splits into two tubes. They are called bronchi. They are as narrow airways as the branches of a plant. At the end of these, there are small air bags like sponge. They are called alveoli. Such are the about 50 billion air bags in our lungs. Blood vessels surrounded such a small alveoli. The oxygen meets the blood from here which we breathe. Our lungs contractions and dilations cause to inhalation and exhalation. Our lungs do not contractions and dilations on their own. Beneath the lungs there is an organ called the diaphragm. When it moves upwards, the lungs are pressed closer and the air is expelled from the lungs. When the diaphragm comes down again, the lungs move away and air enters from the outside. This is the process we breathe in and out. The air we breathe travels through the nose, nasal cavity, throat and into bronchi from the spring pipe. From here, the air finally reaches the air sacs called the alveoli. These air sacs have a very thin layer. Blood flows through the blood vessels on the outside of these sacs. The oxygen we breathe flows through this layer and joins the red blood cells. Our body is made up of a few crores of cells. This blood flows throughout our body and delivers this oxygen to every cell in our body. The food we eat is converted into glucose and reaches every cell in our body. This glucose needs oxygen to turn into the energy we need. The mitochondria, which are now present in every cell, release glucose as energy with the help of this oxygen. This is called ATP. Simply put, this ATP like a battery that stores energy. The whole process is called cellular respiration. Carbon dioxide is released during this process. It is toxic. It is also useless for our body. So the released carbon dioxide travels through the red blood cells again, reaching the lungs through the alveoli and exiting when we exhale. This is our respiratory system. Now let us write the equation for the respiratory system. The oxygen we take reacts with the glucose in our body to release carbon dioxide and water. Hence, C6H12O6+O2 gives us CO2 plus H2O. This is the general equation for the respiratory system. In this equation, the reactants are glucose and oxygen, and the products are carbon dioxide and water. Now we need to balance this equation. In the reactants side, there are 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen atoms, and 8 oxygen atoms present. And the products side, there are 1 carbon atom, 2 hydrogen atoms, and 3 oxygen atoms present. The number of atoms are not balanced on both sides. To balance the chemical equation, we need to make use of coefficients. A coefficient is a number that we place in front of a chemical formula. In this equation, we need to balance the carbon atoms first. To do this, we need to put a coefficient of 6 in front of CO2. The carbon atoms are balanced. Now we need to balance the hydrogen atoms. To do this, we need to put a coefficient of 6 in front of H2O. The hydrogen atoms are balanced. Now we need to balance the oxygen atoms. To do this, we need to put a coefficient of 6 in front of O2. The equation is now balanced. There are 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen atoms and 18 oxygen atoms on both sides. In this reaction, energy is released. This is called ATP. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel and press on the bell icon.